Imagine a world on the brink. It's 1932, and Germany, humiliated by its defeat in World War I and crippled by economic depression, is desperate for a savior. Enter Adolf Hitler, a charismatic but deeply disturbed individual, preaching a gospel of hate and promising to restore Germany to its former glory. Here's the shocking part. Hitler lost the 1932 German election, yet within a year he would hold absolute power, transforming Germany into a totalitarian state. How did a defeated politician achieve such a terrifying rise? The answer lies in a perfect storm of political maneuvering, economic desperation, and the seductive power of Hitler's twisted ideology. The seeds of evil often find fertile ground in chaos and despair. To understand the man who would drag the world into darkness, we must first travel back to his beginnings. Born in Austria in 1889, Adolf Hitler's childhood was marked by a turbulent family life and a deep sense of resentment, particularly toward authority figures. His early ambitions to become an artist were thwarted, leaving him adrift and disillusioned. Fast forward to 1918, the guns fall silent on the Western Front, signaling the end of World War I. Germany, once a formidable power on the world stage, finds itself on its knees, burdened by the crushing terms of the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty, widely perceived as a humiliation by the German people, saddles the nation with crippling war reparations and strips it of its territories, fostering widespread resentment and instability. Adding to the turmoil, a devastating economic depression grips the nation, leaving millions unemployed and desperate. This perfect storm of economic hardship, political turmoil, and wounded national pride creates a fertile breeding ground for extremist ideologies, setting the stage for the rise of a demagogue who promises to restore Germany to its former glory. Hitler, a decorated veteran but a deeply damaged individual, finds his purpose amidst the chaos. He gravitates towards the burgeoning nationalist movements, eventually finding his voice in the fledgling Nazi Party. It is here, in the beer halls and political rallies of a fractured nation, that Hitler hones his venomous rhetoric, exploiting the economic anxieties and wounded pride of the German people. His message is simple, seductive, and utterly terrifying. Germany was betrayed, and he, Adolf Hitler, is her only salvation. This is where our story truly begins. Fueled by a potent mix of charisma and chilling ambition, Hitler transforms himself into a mesmerizing orator, captivating audiences with promises of national revival and a return to German greatness. He becomes a master manipulator, exploiting the anxieties of a nation desperate for a savior. His message resonates with disaffected veterans, unemployed workers, and those who feel betrayed by the current political system. Within the ranks of the Nazi Party, Hitler's ascent to power is swift and unstoppable. His potent blend of charisma and nationalist rhetoric strikes a chord with a nation yearning for a return to greatness. His message, infused with a dangerous ideology of Aryan supremacy, attracts a loyal following, many of whom will become key architects of his murderous regime. Paramilitary organizations like the Sturmabteilung, better known as the SA, serve as the Nazi Party's brutal enforcers. Clad in their distinctive brown shirts, the SA terrorize political opponents, disrupt meetings, and create an atmosphere of fear and intimidation on Germany's streets, effectively silencing any opposition to Hitler's growing power. By 1933, the Nazi Party becomes the largest party in the Reichstag, Germany's parliament. Hitler, through a combination of political maneuvering and the exploitation of a suspicious fire at the Reichstag building, seizes the opportunity to consolidate his power. He dismantles the Weimar Republic piece by piece, transforming Germany into a one-party state with himself as the Führer. The supreme leader, the Third Reich, as it was known, had begun its dark reign over Germany. With absolute power firmly in his grasp, Hitler's true agenda becomes horrifyingly clear. The Nazi propaganda machine, spearheaded by Joseph Goebbels, goes into overdrive, saturating every aspect of German life with its insidious messaging. Radios blare, newspapers scream, and films depict a distorted reality where Jews are scapegoated as the source of all of Germany's ills. This systematic campaign of disinformation and hate-mongering effectively poisons the minds of millions. Hitler's grip on German society tightens with a chilling display of legislative barbarism. The introduction of the Nuremberg Laws in 1935. These laws stripped Jewish citizens of their citizenship, reducing them to mere subjects with no political rights. Marriage and sexual relationships between Jews and those deemed Aryan are strictly forbidden, designed to pollute what Nazi ideology viewed as racial purity. The Nuremberg Laws create a legal framework for systematic persecution, paving the way for the horrors to come. Synagogues, once places of worship and community, are torched in acts of terrifying violence. Jewish businesses are boycotted, their windows smashed, their livelihoods destroyed. A climate of fear and violence permeates everyday life for Germany's Jewish population, as the Nazi regime tightens its grip on every aspect of society. Driven by his twisted ideology and insatiable hunger for power, Hitler sets his sights beyond Germany's borders. In 1938, he orchestrates the annexation of his homeland, Austria, into the Third Reich. The world watches with a mixture of apprehension and indifference, failing to grasp the full scope of the horrors to come. The Nazi monster, having devoured its own, is now poised to unleash its fury upon the world, emboldened by the world's muted response to his early aggressions. Hitler sets in motion his twisted vision for a greater German Reich. In 1939, his armies march into Czechoslovakia, annexing the Sudetenland, a region with a significant German population. The insatiable beast of Nazi ambition, fueled by a toxic ideology of racial superiority, demands further conquest. On September 1st, 1939, the world watches in horror as Hitler, driven by his insatiable lust for power and fueled by a twisted ideology of racial dominance, unleashes his war machine upon the nation of Poland. This act of unprovoked aggression shatters the fragile peace that had followed World War I, marking the beginning of World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history. The Nazi Blitzkrieg, a terrifying display of military might and ruthlessness, utilizes lightning-fast tank divisions and overwhelming air power to devastating effect. Polish defenses crumble under the onslaught, and within weeks, much of the country is under Nazi control. The Blitzkrieg, a brutal symphony of mechanized warfare, leaves a trail of devastation and death in its wake, signaling the beginning of a long and bloody conflict that will engulf the world. But Hitler's ambitions extend far beyond military conquest. As his armies carve a path across Europe, a sinister network of concentration camps emerges in their wake. Initially designed to imprison political opponents and dissidents, these camps quickly transform into centers of unspeakable horror, designed for the systematic extermination of Jews, Roma, homosexuals, and anyone deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. The road to ruin, paved with hatred and blind ambition, has led to the abyss of genocide. In June of 1941, blinded by his own twisted ideology and driven by a delusional belief in a racially pure living space for the German people, Hitler makes a decision of catastrophic proportions, one that will forever cement his legacy as a monster. He betrays his non-aggression pact with Stalin and unleashes the full, terrifying might of the Nazi war machine upon the unsuspecting Soviet Union. Operation Barbarossa, as this invasion was known, marked a turning point in the war and the beginning of one of its most brutal chapters, the Eastern Front. As it becomes known, rapidly descends into a maelstrom of unimaginable brutality. Hitler views the Slavic people of the Soviet Union as racially inferior, obstacles to be crushed in his pursuit of Lebensraum, or living space, for the German people. As the German armies advance eastward, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake, they are followed by the chilling presence of the Einsatzgruppen, mobile killing squads tasked with the systematic extermination of Jews and other undesirables. The men, women, and children are rounded up and murdered in cold blood, their bodies left in mass graves that scar the landscape like open wounds, silent testament to the genocide unfolding across Eastern Europe. Simultaneously, the horrors of the Holocaust, the systematic, state-sponsored genocide that would claim the lives of 6 million Jews, unfold with terrifying efficiency. From the notorious death camps of Auschwitz-Birkenau to Treblinka, the machinery of death grinds relentlessly, fueled by an ideology of hate so monstrous it defies comprehension. The world, largely unaware of the full scope of the horrors being perpetrated, watches with a mixture of apprehension and disbelief as the true depths of Nazi depravity slowly come to light. The tide of war eventually turns. The combined might of the Allied powers, fueled by their own sacrifices and the unwavering courage of those who resisted Nazi tyranny, slowly pushes back against the Nazi war machine. The liberation of the concentration camps in the final days of the war reveals the full scope of the Nazi horrors to a stunned and horrified world. The stench of death hangs heavy in the air, a stark testament to the depravity of a regime built on hatred and lies. With Germany in ruins and the Nazi leadership either dead or captured, the Allied powers grapple with the monumental task of holding the architects of genocide accountable for their crimes. In 1945, the Nuremberg trials commence, putting 24 high-ranking Nazi officials on trial for crimes against peace, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The Nuremberg trials mark a pivotal moment in history. For the first time, the world bears witness to the meticulous documentation of Nazi atrocities, exposing the horrors of the Holocaust and the depravity of the Nazi regime to the cold light of day. The trials serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the perilous consequences of unchecked hatred and intolerance. The story of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime is a chilling reminder of the dark potential that lies within humanity. But it is also a story of courage, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome even the most unimaginable evil. Thanks for joining us on this harrowing journey into one of history's darkest chapters. Though justice was sought at the Nuremberg trials, the scars of Nazi Germany's reign of terror still linger, reminding us of the fragility of peace and the ever-present dangers of unchecked hatred and intolerance. If you found this exploration of World War II and its lasting impact on the world insightful, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into history's most pivotal moments, and ring that notification bell so you won't miss our next historical exploration. What other events from the past should we investigate next? Let us know in the comments below. Until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep history alive.